Representing Ents, it is Serral.
And in the top right side of 2K Atmosphere, we're looking at the main base of the biggest of Gabriels, hailing from Cologne, Deutschland, representing Mouse Sports. It is HeRoMaRinE.
Oh, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. I've been watching Big Gabe so much on his stream. He's been doing so well, always providing content with these weeklies that, you know, the Big Gabe Weekly. If you've not seen it, well, he's won more than anybody over in Europe, and now he started competing in the NA version as well. But yeah, this is his first true test here, going up against one of the players that in his mind is in the top 3 in Europe, rightly so, the player to change the whole face of the game. Can he do it?
That is honestly the big question, I think, on many people's mind. Gabe obviously has a lot of fans. Serral has a lot of fans, rightfully so. This is just one series that I'm really sitting for. Buckle up and let's do it. Enjoy the ride. I hope that Gabe lives up to the expectations. It is important for Gabe. I mean, we were talking a little bit about this best of 5 off stream too, that he brings out his very best. A couple of times in this DreamHack, even though you look at the group stage, it's like, wow, 7-0, Gabe's so impressive. In a few of the games, he didn't actually look that impressive and he didn't look that clean, but he did get the job done. And he said he was just feeling a bit of pressure. He wanted to make sure he had a good seeding. But I think, honestly, in Gabe's mind, the goal is always make top 4, qualify for the season finals, because he sees himself as a top 4 player. And I think at that point, a lot of pressure actually goes off his shoulders, where he's like, now I'm free rolling. I have already accomplished what I set out to be my goal, and something that I feel like I should accomplish. And hopefully he can show his very best. And that's obviously what he needs, because make no mistake, Serral is, of course, a veteran. He's been here so many times. For Yona, playing an upper bracket final is nothing new. Winning a tournament is nothing new. For Gabe, however, this could very well be the tournament dream or the tournament run of his life.
Absolutely. I mean, very often in the top 4 spot in that winner bracket, he's very often running into like a Raynor or a Serral, like nearly all the time. And here, kind of bypass that. He's safely into the top 3. A lot of pressure is off his shoulders. Now it's just time to perform and showcase what he's really been practicing and honing in on. And yeah, this game starts off very regular. We have the SCV Scout for HeRoMaRinE into the Reaper follow-up, into the 3CC. So looking to go for a true macro-centric opening here.
Serral, of course, so far in this tournament also went 7-0 in his group stage. And Serral is actually the only player in this tournament to not drop a single map. He went 7-0, 14-0 in maps, 7-0 in series, of course, and got a 3-1 victory over MaxPax in the quarterfinals and a 3-1 victory over Raynor. HeRoMaRinE had a 3-1 victory over Showtime and a 3-0 over Marine Lord, who just beat Clem the other day in that same matchup. First game was a nail-biter, and I think this best of 5 really has the potential to just be a nail-biter. I don't see a lot of games where we're like, oh yeah, Serral just has too much. We're like, oh wow, Gabe is just overwhelming him. No, I think they're going to be trading blows left, right, and center. I think it's going to be hectic, scrappy, and may the better man win.
We've been talking a lot about what Big Gabe's feeling and feeling about himself, but how do you imagine that Serral's feeling about this? Because it's like, without meaning too much, like Gabe, his presence is large, and like he's on everybody's radar. And for a long time, he's been the guy that, oh yeah, he's obviously good, but he kind of freaks out against me in the past. It's got to be very different for Serral this time.
I don't exactly know what's going through Jonas' mind. I mean, I joked a little bit with him when we had him on the show yesterday. I was like, you bounced back from rock bottom, and I got a little smile out of him. As the HeRoMaRinE did pick up a couple of links. I think for Serral, it's often a lot more about just living up to his own expectations and playing a clean game. As I gotta say, HeRoMaRinE is getting really adventurous with his Reapers and his Hellions here. Does grab a couple of drones, grabs 5 drones, might be able to get number 6. No, he's not gonna get that, as the target fire was a little bit off there. That is, I don't want to say uncharacteristic, but normally Gabe is so conservative with his Hellions. Now he just went for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kev, he actually went up to 10 Hellions this game as well. And he's gone for the Raven opening, so this is the second Raven opening we've seen today out of HeRoMaRinE. Yeah, wow. Okay. So Serral got a scout off. He saw the tech lab, but maybe he was thinking that it's not a Raven and maybe it's more like a BC or something, but we'll see. The next 6 Hellions are shown.
When Serral was scouting, the tech lab was spinning. It was researching Cloak, I guess, or something fake. So Serral's probably just reading this as, okay, the follow-up is going to be Cloak Banshees. Dropped a couple of Spore Crawlers. Now, having Spores is not a bad thing. It can definitely help later on against potential medevac drops, but you don't really want to build them too early, because at this point, you just want to make sure that you have as many drones mining minerals and gas as possible. Serral drops a Spire before dropping any evolution chambers here.
That's kind of the normal way they do it. They focus on getting the Baneling speed out. I remember this being a big difference between the Korean meta and the Europeans, and turns out the Koreans were bang on in regards to what felt safer. Here, though, he does obviously see the Raven, pokes it back a little bit. That creep spread, despite there being a Raven, it's pretty hard to fight against the Queens when you've only got 6 Hellions on the field.
Yeah, and that Raven did take a lot of shots. And Serral, for a split second there, tried to surround the Hellions, but decided against it. HeRoMaRinE has not scouted anything in the main base of Serral. He doesn't necessarily know there is a Spire close to finishing up. He may expect it. The game sense could obviously be tingling. But these are the kind of things that I would like to see Gabe just confirm a little bit quicker than he's actually doing it at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Those Evo chambers still not starting up is... I don't want to say it's worrying me a little bit, but Serral does boot up 8 mutas all at once, and that creep spread finally getting a little bit of a dent in it. And HeRoMaRinE does move out onto the map. You know what? With his 1-1 finishing and that Raven, which I don't think it's used any energy, right? This could be a pretty nasty push.
It could be a nasty push, because auto turrets are very tanky. Serral does, of course, have Baneling speed.
Oh, he's going to use them to take out the Queens here in the middle, but Serral with some nice transfusions, just buying a little bit of time, but those Queens, only one of them gets away here.
Yep, and now HeRoMaRinE does, of course, see all these mutas. He's going to pick up the Marines. The Raven is going to fall against the mutas, but everything else survives. There are a couple of Banelings rolling into the mineral line. This is going to be very difficult for HeRoMaRinE to deal with, and he commands all of his Marines into the Banelings. What should have been an alright scenario for HeRoMaRinE is turning into a straight-up disaster, as those Marines ran headfirst into the Banelings, and just like that, it is Serral who takes the 1-0 lead in a game where it felt like there was not a worry in the world for HeRoMaRinE. He was going to be able to do his thing. He was going to be able to execute everything that he's been practicing. Oh, that was an unfortunate misclick, Ben.
It was an unfortunate misclick, and I saw a bit of a smile on Serral's face after that one too, because, yeah, there was the build-up, but then bada boom, all those Banelings connected like they dream of connecting, Kevin. Those were the dream connections, and that is not the way that HeRoMaRinE wanted to start this off. Because the build-up, it was absolutely there, man. We were getting ready for what was going to be a bit of a longer, later game, and yeah, Serral just shut him down before he began. What a beautiful start for Serral.
Yep, obviously really good job by Serral having those Banelings ready to potentially connect with the STVs, but then instead of a couple of STVs or perhaps even many STVs, Serral got something a whole lot better than that, and that is all those Marines right before Combat Shield finished up. Gabe writing in caps lock, go. He's ready to forget about that one. Makes me a bit sad, because I didn't actually hate how that game was going up to that point for HeRoMaRinE. I really felt that he was getting himself perfectly set up. And even though he didn't see the mutas maybe as early as he could, I'm sure that he was thinking of it, but he was going to have plenty of 1-1 Marines with Stim to deal with that anyway. Second factory was about to come online. We could start working towards some Wither Mines with drilling claws maybe. And then it just ended. That honestly felt like a really good dream, and then you just wake up and you're like, damn it, it's Monday morning, isn't it? I gotta go to work. That's kind of what that game felt like to me, Ben.
I mean, that was like, I believe in myself, like the whole, repertoire, getting the speech going, the mantra in your head, and it's like, yeah, I'm absolutely in this. I'm absolutely in this, aren't I? And then it's like, oh, well, yeah, Serral, man, he's freaking good. To get things going, though, second map will be Blackburn. Spawning over in the bottom right as our Red Zerg, it is Serral.
In the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of a German Terran, down 0-1 after a very uncharacteristic mistake on his side. Can he keep it together? It is HeRoMaRinE. I mean,
that game was brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. What a way to wrap that up in literally 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you say that like, oh, it's Serral, he's freaking good. And obviously, Serral is freaking good. I think this goes without question. He is, in the eyes of many, the best StarCraft 2 player of all time. But that's, of course, a debate that never everybody will agree upon. And that's okay. That's what makes this game beautiful. But I don't think Serral won that game because Serral is freaking good. I think that is just HeRoMaRinE, honestly, shooting himself in the foot. Actually, shooting himself in both foot at the same time.
that was HeRoMaRinE having a shotgun and shooting off both feet with one shot. Like that was it was really, really bad. And he's like, oh damn, I fell over. But yeah, if we looked at Serral, like he didn't miss a beat with the creep spread. Like he was against the Raven opening, just everything got shut down. Like all of the Hellions as well, like the 6 Hellions afterwards, never took an engagement against them that he couldn't win or just slap it back. So yeah, we can definitely say that Serral crossed all his T's, dotted all his I's, and yeah, pounced on the opportunity and took it. But yeah, HeRoMaRinE, he's going to have to not make mistakes. He can't afford to make a mistake as big as that against Serral.
Yeah, no, that is a game-ending mistake if there ever was one. It's like, even if you just left your Marines there, you would have split them a little bit and the Baneling connections would have been good on Marines and a couple of STVs, then you're okay. But now they literally ran headfirst into Banelings. Not a single bullet was fired. It was probably the most peaceful Zerg fight in history. Like, no bullets were fired, man. Zerg just won.
Yeah, like, I mean, HeRoMaRinE in real life with the feet shooting did the shooting for him, not his Marines, which is definitely not the way around you want it. By the way, there's one thing that Serral did that was really cute that game, and it was about the creep spread. Like, he would constantly have his overlords a little bit ahead of his creep to kind of help the movement constantly, and also just help this creep spread further. But it was very, very nice. It was something a little bit extra, so Serral felt very, very comfortable that game to be going with all the shots to get a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, that was lovely, actually. Just utilizing that quick lair, and then the Overlord getting the ability to drop some creep gives you a little bit of extra vision, and it puts the creep tumors a little bit further away from the very edge of creep, which actually makes it a bit more difficult for HeRoMaRinE to really get in there, because then he has to step deep onto creep to even pick up the most recent active creep tumor, and that could potentially allow the Zerglings to surround them with that little speed boost they get on creep. So, nice play. Serral definitely played a solid game. I mean, maybe he lost a few more drones initially than he should have, but that wasn't all that bad. But yeah, I mean, HeRoMaRinE obviously knows that if he wants to beat Serral here in the upper bracket finals of the DreamHack Masters Fall, he's gonna have to bring not his A game, but his A++ game, as you would call it, Ben. And I think it's safe to say that wasn't even his C game, because that was just a bit silly.
Well, it was his A game until it wasn't, you know, then it got a big fat F. But yeah, I don't like to be that critical. Okay, so HeRoMaRinE here, he's made like a cyclone, or he tried to make a cyclone, then cancelled it, then made a Hellion, and then cancelled it, made a cyclone. Like, he's been a bit indecisive with that. This Reaper does get shut down in the main, but does get to see that there is no lair. But we got to say, his build has been very different this game. He's actually opted for a lot of Marines in this medevac, just getting a handful of Hellions as well. So a different starter for HeRoMaRinE here, and maybe he'll get to pick off an Overlord or two, but this isn't the kind of opening that can just kill, you know, 10, 12 drones and end the game. Not at all.
A bit surprising to see him building Hellions out of a factory with a tech lab on it. HeRoMaRinE does unload his Marines in the main base, finds an Overlord, but yeah, this is not the kind of opening that he's going to find a whole lot with, at least not now. Yona is switching things up. This time it's going to be double Evo before teching up to Lair. So he's going to work with a lot of Lings and Banes, and he's going to get very quick access to upgrades, as HeRoMaRinE does plan down his own third command center. Stim is more than halfway done. So do you think this is... What do you think that HeRoMaRinE is exactly aiming for here with this build that he's going for?
Okay, so I just saw all the Overlords of Serral that were kind of like we talked about, being ahead of the creep. So he's picked off a couple of Overlords here, and I saw the other Overlords moving back. So maybe that's an adjustment from HeRoMaRinE, just being like, well, he was kind of a bit ballsy with these Overlords, and so far it's kind of paying off for him. Slows down the creep spread a little bit, but the follow-up behind it, these 6 Hellions, I think this was just a different path to get to the same point, which is 3CC, get your barracks up, get your engineering base and all that jazz. The main difference is Serral is, yeah, he's gone for those very quick upgrades here, which, as long as he survives, should pay off.
Gabe was building a second factory for a split second, and I was a bit surprised by that. I was like, whoa, that's early. But then he cancelled it immediately, and he just started building more barracks. Liberator is going to siege up at the third base of Serral, and yeah, good job moving that Spore Crawler. So Serral can just focus on trying to deal with this medevac. The single queen has really done a lot of damage to that medevac. And the Liberator just went down to the Sport Crawler.
No, it just flew up to the top, but it still took a lot of damage. And so far, we can definitely say that Serral's been pretty bulletproof this game, man. Like, I know he lost a couple of Overlords and stuff, but his drone count, 66 and climbing. He's just opening up the rocks and stuff on Blackburn. Ooh, going for a Hydralisk then on Blackburn. I like it. I like it, Kev, a lot.
All right, Hydra then goes down. Serral's also going to try to start mining of that gold. This is a very annoying base to defend, especially if you got no creep in the center of the map. HeRoMaRinE has already seen that Serral is planning on taking this base. I don't think he's seen the Hydra then, though, right?
I don't think he has. It's in a pretty weird spot to have a tech structure, it's got to be said. These Hellions will get busy over in the south to stop that creep spread. Meanwhile, I like the Liberator being used here, Kev, with these Marines, but the Marines, Gabe not looking just for a moment there, but that was the moment that Serral pounced.
Serral gets an easy cleanup there. Our Zork 8 workers ahead and now potentially able to transfer. I like this move by Serral, actually. He immediately grabs 12 drones from his third base and immediately sends them towards the gold, and then can always resaturate that other mineral line a little bit later. But now it is important that he can keep it safe. HeRoMaRinE is splitting up the Hellions. These are not things you want to do, because Serral, you give him a finger ban, he's going to take your whole hand.
I love it. I love it.
I did it for you.
Kev, yeah, I love it when you bring up the ranking thing as well, or the grade thing, because I'm like, yeah, I remember talking about that back in Cologne when we lived there like good 10, 11 years ago. But yeah, we have Serral. He's just real good this game, man. Like every little thing, every little potential mistake HeRoMaRiNE's made, Serral's just made it look like you can't do that against me, man. Maybe this is the one grab that HeRoMaRiNE was looking for. Yeah, stopping that creep spread as well and killing a few units, but 2-2 is more than along the way here, Kev. I'm worried for Big Gabe.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried when it comes to the upgrades, but Serral has not been building drones for quite some time, and if Serral doesn't go above 68 drones, I can only imagine that he wants to be really aggressive. Gabe's tanks are not sieged up, but he's going to siege up one tank now, throws down a scan. HeRoMaRinE is about to get pounced on from not just one, but many angles. It's important that he at least can keep a couple of units alive here.
Yeah, now that pounce is happening, Kev. Lots of banelings, lings. The medevacs do load up, and they're flying right into the queens here. I mean, that's a ballsy move, but maybe it was the right one. The rest of his army does get cleaned up. He's dealing with the creep spread at the bottom, though. Gabe is playing fast now.
The longer this goes on, I feel like the better it is for HeRoMaRinE, but I think Serral had just enough of it. He wanted to deal with this, and now Serral wants to be on the aggressive, but HeRoMaRinE still has a lot of supply out and about on the map. Gabe is about to see all these units in the center. Serral's still only at 65 drones. He will have those 2 upgrades, so this is a beautiful timing attack, but I think this game is about to get hectic. HeRoMaRinE can kill drones at the gold base. He can kill drones in the main, but his third base is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the gold base super exposed there, so Serral is defending in his main, but holy crap, Kevin, that is 2-2 coming in from each and every angle. The tank's taken down immediately. The Marines, well, where are they? The supplies are really damn close, but this third base is so exposed.
The bailing connections there in the natural were really good. If HeRoMaRinE would have been able to keep those Marines alive a bit longer, I feel like this wouldn't have been all that bad. He does have his other units coming back home. I gotta say, those Marines are really exposed, though, and that's not a fight Marines want to take without any medevac support. HeRoMaRinE only has 36 army supply left, and it is just not going to be enough. Serral with a devastating +2 melee, +2 carapace attack there gets the job done. It's very hard for HeRoMaRinE, I think, to get optimal defense there, because he's got units in the bottom right, he's got units in the top, and then it just feels like his screen becomes almost too big, even for Gabe, a man of that size, because he had to micro at too many different locations. He had a lot of supply in his natural, and Serral rolled up his natural ramp with like 4 or 5 banelings, and those 5 banes, they killed like an additional 16 or 18 Marines. I feel if HeRoMaRinE would have been able to just save some of those units, maybe it would have been okay-ish. Because Serral is very committed there with the drone count that Serral had, and even losing drones, that attack kind of had to get the job done.
Yeah, but I was kind of looking at the graph, right? So even though his drone count was 68 to 66 SCVs, he was mining from that gold for quite some time. Like he was getting 3.3k minerals per minute as opposed to the 2.6 of HeRoMaRinE. So he's still mining decent, like with that gold base. Granted, it was risky and HeRoMaRinE was dealing economic damage. That 2-2 was just so freaking fast. But we gotta commend Serral. Like, so far, HeRoMaRiNE's throwing builds at him, and Serral's just like, yeah, I'm shutting this down. I'm playing smart. I'm like the Spore Crawler movement to the Liberator as well. Just everything prepared. This is kind of like the Serral of old. And even though maybe in the Reina series it wasn't the cleanest Serral, we can definitely say that his ZVT is looking top-notch here.
Yep. On HeRoMaRiNE's side of things, it felt a little bit indecisive in the early game. It was Cyclone, Hellion, Cyclone, Hellion, then ended up building a couple of Hellions of a factory with a tech lab, then planted down a second factory, decided to cancel that. It was a bit of everything, and that's just, in general, not the way you can really make this man shake if you want to make him shake them all. So far, this man has been playing an absolutely phenomenal DreamHack Masters poll. He has only dropped 2 maps in the entire tournament, and he can perhaps get a clean sweep here in the upper bracket final. Hailing from Finland, representing ENS, it is Serral.
And spawning over in the bottom right-hand side, currently 2-0 down, representing Mount Sports, it is HeRoMaRiNE. Three maps in a row is what he needs now if he wants to come back from this. And against Serral, I mean, people have done it, but the list is rather small, I do believe.
It really is. I mean, Romanticide is a map where HeRoMaRiNE does have some cool builds. We know he's kind of a fan of the Atrax, and I feel like he's done pretty damn well with that build, especially on this map. The next map would be Oxide. So if HeRoMaRiNE can get a point on the board here, there is still a chance he could send it to a decider series, but he's really going to have to step it up. I do think that, yeah, the final moment of that first game on 2K Atmosphere, that's a bit of a heartbreaking moment, right? Because you've got all these things in your mind, you plan a game out, you plan a strategy out, and you're like, all right, so far so good. And then it just feels like you get smacked without seeing it, and you're like, whoa, it's over. That's really annoying. The second game, it didn't quite feel that HeRoMaRiNE knew how aggressive Serral was going to be. Even though Serral had the gold, and he obviously was mining a bit more because of the gold base. Like, I think if HeRoMaRiNE would identify that that is the kind of attack Serral would go for, he could have worked a bit more in the Sim CD. There could have been a couple of bunkers. He did have a beautiful Widowmine connection, which I believe he retargeted, because it was about to fire a couple of his own units, and it did connect with like 10 plus Banelings or so. And it just wasn't quite enough in the end.
Yeah, like his upgrade, like he went for a bit of a odd build, right? And then his upgrades were a little bit later than Serral's because Serral really pounded them out. But then he forgot his armory as well. So it was like 2-2 against 1-1, which usually it's the other way around if it's going to happen. But yeah, just a bit of a problematic game for Big Gabe, and Serral just never took any damage early on and never reacted improperly too. It's just a very textbook game from Serral. Just played cool, calm, and collected.
Serral definitely had it just under control. It felt like in the second game, wasn't really in any danger. A single Liberator is not something that is really going to catch Serral off guard. Few Marines, like it's 8 Marines in a single medevac, but obviously the Marines don't have stim. You know, Serral needs to have a very bad day for him to take a lot of damage against those kinds of openings, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Here, though, on Romanticide, Gabe going for the 3CC, which I like this more from Gabe. That isn't to say what he did before was bad, because I don't believe it is at all. But if there's any player that's smart and good at figuring things out, it is Serral. And I think, oh my goodness, if that Reaper died to that Queen in a 1v1, I'd have been like, wow, HeRoMaRiNE is shook. But luckily, keeping it alive.
Yep. And obviously it will just regenerate, so no man overboard yet for Gabe. This is an opening that he has done time and time again, so he should be quite comfortable with it. I don't hate the Viking either, to maybe clear up some overlords and just take away a little bit of map vision of Serral and make the Zerg sweat a little bit harder in having their queens in the right position against these potential Hellion drive-bys.
Yeah, I like the Viking. I've seen him do this kind of build before, where he goes for a Liberator afterwards as well. And we have seen that Serral does like a few Overlords out on the map just in these positions to scout. And yeah, he's going to go for that Liberator afterwards as well. Serral, upon scouting this, very often it is the Liberator follow-up. And if I know that about HeRoMaRiNE, Serral probably does too. Immediately sending those Overlords back home. Serral's reacting properly here.
Do you think Jonah is secretly a fan of the Big Ape stream?
I don't think it's a secret. I've seen him with his 13-month subscription, tier 3 over there in the Big Game chat, going ham like, yes, Big Game, get another rank 1, baby. But yeah, I think everyone's a fan, man.
Serral's going to drop a Baneling Nest and the lair is on the way. So this time it's not going to be double Evo, of course, before attacking up. Means the upgrades are going to be a bit later. It could be a bit similar to what we saw before. HeRoMaRinE is going to take a look at the natural of Serral. He's going to fight these Zerglings. 2 Hellions do get surrounded immediately, but quite a few Lings go down in the process. Not the cleanest of trades there for HeRoMaRinE, but he gets out of there with most units and he roasted 12 Lings. I think a bit of a trade.
I actually don't think that was bad for HeRoMaRinE at all. Like, getting that amount of Lings, the resources lost tab said it's not too bad for him. Remember, he did go for a 3CC this game, and I'm looking at this production tab. The Evo chambers go down just behind the engineering bays. So far, I like it a lot better for HeRoMaRinE than the previous game.
Let's see what this Liberator is up to as the Spore Crawler finishes up. HeRoMaRinE shift-clicking it. I don't know if that's going to be in range of the Spore. It's going to be awfully close. It's not in range of the Spore. HeRoMaRinE getting a bit fortunate there because that was shift-click, or maybe he just knew that it was going to be outranging that Spore. And Serral now losing a couple of drones. Hellions are going to get surrounded, perhaps on creep. Nice micro at first, but in the end, all the Hellions will go down. Or will they, Ben? Actually, they take out that set of Zerglings. There are a few more Lings popping, though. But look at that Liberator picking up some extra kills in the natural. 7 drones going down in total. Not a bad start for our German Terran.
Definitely not. Definitely not. We can say that Serral now knows he has the time to drone like Wano. And that creep spread, Kevin, it's blossoming like a flower. But this opening has definitely gone way better for HeRoMaRinE than any other. He also, as far as I can tell, yeah, he skipped tanks entirely. It's just going straight into Widow Mines, and there's no roaches to be seen. So he made the right little corner cut there as well. Much better game for the German.
Hopefully, HeRoMaRinE can just get a proper setup going. As Serral does drop his Spire. But the Romanticide normally is a map that gives us nice macro games. HeRoMaRinE picks up that single Zergling and immediately picks up these Marines and decides to send it out. I like how the Widow Mine is following the medevacs on the low ground. Guys, I'm your backup. Serral is actually going to take a note out of Reyna's playbook, and he's like, hey, that drop lord with Banelings, that did pretty good against Clem on this map with the same positions. Let's see if I can find those juicy connections too. As Overlord speed is already done, HeRoMaRinE has no vision in the corner of his natural. Could be a bit dicey to deal with. The Banelings have been picked up. We'll see if Serral can find the damage he's looking for.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh, lovely pickup by HeRoMaRinE at the last second. So what Serral's going to look for here is maybe a distraction, maybe going for some fights while getting that drop going at the same time. And it's got to be said, Kev, this game so far, HeRoMaRiNE's actually ahead in workers. He's ahead in supply pretty significantly. The 1-1's finished up before Serral as well. Serral's going in for the drop, though. This could be big.
Yep, it's 17 STV. Serral gets perfect connections at first. HeRoMaRinE is able to split a little bit towards the end. Final Baneling only gets 1. 11 workers is obviously very nice, and it gives Serral the worker lead again. It could have been worse, but job well done by Serral, as he feels confident enough to fire up his first Mutalism.
Oh, no. That drop did not do what HeRoMaRinE wanted it to, and now Serral only has to focus within this right side of the map. That was great Widow Mine refocused there by HeRoMaRinE.
I actually didn't know if he refocused. Did he?
He did. It was focusing one on the right where Serral split to, but refocused.
Sexy. Serral is going to send a couple of more links, and actually he just goes for a link drop, as a few SCVs were still a bit low from that Baneling drop before. Serral also firing up 11 drones while all of this is happening, which I do think means he is going to lose some creep. Gabe is going to drop a couple of turrets, maybe realizing that the mutas are out. This time HeRoMaRinE sees that drop alert coming in too. He's going to stim a couple of Marines, but it's not going to be Banelings, it will be just Links. HeRoMaRinE gets a great fight in the bottom left, actually. A couple of Links for free. He's going to push back the creep a bit. It definitely feels like a very playable game for Gabe. It's just important that these mutas don't find too much damage. HeRoMaRinE left quite a few Marines behind. Let's see how well these mutas of Yona can do.
Yeah, HeRoMaRiNE's still ahead in supply, man, and he didn't miss a beat with starting up his 2-2 in time, but neither did Serral. This game's going to get chaotic very quickly. Obviously, HeRoMaRiNE didn't really know about these mutas. Does pick off a queen at that 4th base of Serral, still ahead in supply, but these mutas, they're not really getting too much damage done, it's got to be said.
Nope. At the same time, Serral was able to clean up a bunch of Marines at home, though, so that was nice. Didn't lose any drones in the process. Mudas are going to start working on depots. I'd actually go for that sensor tower. I feel like sensor towers are pretty pricey. And it's very nice as a Zerg, I think, to pick up the sensor tower. It makes the Terrans a bit more paranoid. Gabe is looking for a sandwich on these Mudas, but Yona, I don't know what he saw there. Maybe a stray Marine decided to change course, and he avoids all these Marines. Well done by Serral.
Yeah, definitely. This feels like the first true game, like the true test between these two, and the supplies couldn't be closer. 173 against 172 here. Both about to finish their 2-2. Serral's creep spread definitely has been good. HeRoMaRinE not letting it go uncontested this game, and he's powering up, Kev, up to 4 bases now, getting up to 8 barracks and such.
Yep, Serral feels that this is the right moment to fire up 13 additional drones while also getting the infestation pit. So he's definitely telling us that he wants to make it to Hive eventually. Mudas are going to dive into the natural right before the additional turrets are done. That's beautiful timing by Serral. There is a Big Daddy Thor, though, that could maybe assist that other turret a little bit. Nice timing, though, by Serral. There are a couple of Widow Mines left behind in the main. I don't know if Serral sees that mine. I think he did.
Oh, he certainly does. And the Banelings do clear out the Widow Mines in the center as well. And Serral, he's up to 200 supply here, and Hive is on the way.
Yeah, at first it didn't feel like the Mudas were getting a whole lot done, but the second and third try, it does feel like he's finding more and more damage. Sees another Widow Mine there. Serral definitely on top of these things, not flying into any of these mines. Gets the second one, picked up the sensor tower too. And HeRoMaRinE just wants to get a nice little setup going in the center of the map. Serral is just forcing him to pay attention to everything that's taking place at home over and over again.
Yeah, and the resources lost habits now in Serral's favor in his EVT, and his economy is going crazy. He's taking a 6th base behind all this, and it's not as if Gabe's playing slow by any means. Just Serral is doing everything right.
Yep, Serral is making multiple fights happen now. Mudas are in the main. Lings and Banes are going to try to connect with a couple of Marines at the 3rd base of HeRoMaRinE. At the same time, the fight in the center. Seems like HeRoMaRinE took an alrighty trade there, but not before losing 10 SCVs at home. Serral's economy is already better. And while all of this was going on for quite some time, so many fights, HeRoMaRinE was not able to fire up +3 attack, +3 armor. So Serral, even though he was a bit behind on the upgrades earlier, he's actually going to have 3-3 at the same time, or perhaps even a bit faster.
It's so weird to see that Gabe's killed 9 workers, where Serral's killed 30 in his EVT. It's the opposite way round, how it should be. Gabe, look at this red army. There is so much Serral getting ready to wrap around and encapsulate this army. He's being so patient about it, trying to buy out the Widow Mines here by hold positioning. So much Zerg, Kev.
Yeah, a couple of Widow Mine shots quite decent though, but it feels like the Marine count is just not quite high enough. There are reinforcements on the way, and Serral definitely losing quite a few units, but with the 87 drones spread across those 6 bases, it is okay for Serral to lose a couple of Lings and Banes. This is even getting Burrow. In a way, you can even say he's freeing up some supply for the Ultras, but you can never underestimate the Terran train, as now a couple of Liberators start showing up too. We've seen games where Serral has played phenomenal CVT for a long time, but then right before those power tier 3 units are out, sometimes the Terran army can become a bit too much, but it's safe to say that Gabe needs to make magic happen. He does have the army supply advantage though.
This is Gabe's moment. It's powering out 12 Marines at a time. 4's Widow Mines in location. The Marines in location too. The supplies are so damn close. This is right before 3-3 is finished for Serral. I think Gabe might be doing it, man. His split is wild. The Banelings coming in from the left-hand side. The Mutas getting flayed out by these Widow Mines and the Marines. HeRoMaRinE holding on. The Liberators doing really damn good against these Queens as well.
Needs a couple of extra Marines. That's the one thing that's missing, as the Widow Mine does deal some friendly fire. The last Baneling gets picked up. There are no additional Banelings on the map. And Serral didn't just lose Lings and Banes and Mudas. He lost all his Queens. Each and every single Queens, which means there is at this point no anti-air on the map whatsoever. And in a game that it didn't feel like it was going all that well, because Serral was starting to run away with it, Gabe gets it done with a proper Terran push through the center.
I was all on board the Serral train that game, because it really felt like he was making the game ridiculously difficult for HeRoMaRinE, but HeRoMaRinE, through pure force of will there down the middle, just made things happen. But that felt like his one shot, one opportunity, right? Like his economy was definitely busted a little bit, but man, did he make that work with great splits, get great micro, and just a great army comp as well.
Yep, Liberators making sure that there was a bit of justice for all the Terran players out there. We're going to get ready for a quick break, and in 3 minutes, we'll be back with HeRoMaRinE versus Serral Game 4. Welcome back to the upper bracket finals of the DreamHack Masters for Europe, where Serral is still enjoying a 2-1 lead, but it could have very well been all over already, Ben, because Yona was making a lot of great moves happen there on Romanta's side.
Yeah, I got to look a little bit at the end fight there, and 2 Widowmine shots cleared out, like, I want to say 20 plus lings each in that final fight, and Serral went way off deep into the non-creep territory, and yeah, maybe threw that game a little bit. But anyhow, 4th map here will be Oxide, and spawning over in the top right as the Red Zerg's taken off his hoodie, it is Serral.
And in the bottom left side of Oxide, we're looking at the main base of the man who's still trailing 1-2, but maybe that victory, perhaps unexpected, can give him wings and really turn this into one hell of a series. This is HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like those well, it started off with a bailing drop, which did a lot of damage, but then the mutas, like the initial drive-by, the flyby, if you will, didn't do that much. But then the continuation, like there was lots of damage being done, lots of keeping HeRoMaRinE at home, and the creep spread as well was pretty damn wild.
Serral is really good in flying around with Mudas non-stop, but not making any of the mistakes that I feel like are so human, you know? Eventually, you're supposed to fly into a main. Eventually, or a mine, excuse me. Eventually, you're supposed to eat a Thor shot or two. A couple of Marines team within reach, and they pick off one or two Mudas. Serral did a really good job in keeping his Mudas safe, and he found a lot of damage with it. I was very worried there. I honestly felt that the best that HeRoMaRinE has looked in his entire best of 5 are like the first 6 minutes of 2K. Where I really feel like, all right, game is showing up. He's ready to party. He's ready to play. And then that one move command sent it all down south. And after that, even if he won that last game, and he obviously had his moments, and he was dropping everywhere, there were often 3 or 4 fights happening. So then it just really depends where you look, right? Because if you look at the same fight where HeRoMaRinE is looking, you'd be like, all right, he's doing great. But if you pay attention to one of the 2 fights where he's not really looking, you're like, whoo, good bailing connection, whoo, good bailing connection. And it's obviously very tough to be everywhere at once.
Yeah, just going back to Serral's Mudas again, it's like all those little patches on the ground. You saw that he was focused, and it was like, it just felt like these Mudas see absolutely everything, as if these Widow Mines aren't cloaked at all. And obviously they had an Overseer with them, but the Overseer chased the Mudas and just dealt with them all very efficiently. You're right, though. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. That drone.
Oh, drone? No.
Yeah.
I feel like if that Reaper would have made a little step towards the left, it could have maybe prevented that drone from morphing into a sport crawler. Pretty crazy to see a drone that far out fighting the Reaper.
It was kind of like, when a mouse is caught by a cat, but then the mouse starts fighting back and jumping at it. Like the drone shouldn't be fighting the Reaper, but yeah, that is a weird start to this game. But it's got to be said, Kev, like this is Oxide. Like this has been a pretty damn good Terra map for a long time. So if Gabe has a chance getting back into this is the map to do it on.
Serral is opening up with Zergling speed. Do you think there is a chance we'll see him still head into Roaches a little bit later down the line?
Could be. This has been a pretty damn good map for Roach attacks, honestly. Like, Terrans always take that forward third instead of the defensive third, because that's how Terrans want to play. And it is very easy to get a nice big wraparound. We could also see something a bit more defensive from Serral, such as just pure Ling Bane. I know Lambo's done a lot of it on Oxide, and given that it isn't the easiest map, it's nice to go for a build like that.
Elaser and Raynor seem to be quite fond of it as well. The 2 evos before going into Lair and just getting up to 80 plus drones and running around with ridiculous amount of Lings and Banes after 100 plus Lings out on the map. HeRoMaRinE is doing his bread and butter build, I'd say. Hellions into Cloak Banshee. Now Gabe has been switching up a little bit sometimes if he gets scouted. As Serral fires up the lair before Evo Chambers, so it seems like he just wants to maybe head into another quick Spire.
Absolutely could be, absolutely could be. He's only on 2 gases so far, getting a second now, getting the Baneling nest as well. Could also just be for safety, right? Like getting fast Baneling speed just to make sure that you don't get caught off by any of those weird shenanigans. But so far, Serral's been scouting good. He knows about the Cloak Banshee tech as well. And, HeRoMaRinE, did he? Okay. For a second there, I was like, did he not start a 3rd CC? I just saw the barracks going up in the main. I was like, yay, but obviously here it is, a 3rd CC.
You really scared me there, man. Like, one of these moments where sometimes your heart skips to be, you're like, huh? And I'm like, what, Ben? I was like, the Spores? Is that what you're freaking out over? It's like, Spores pretty good here. Like, I was like, oh, the 3rd Commencement, that was already there. I was like, yeah, it's there.
Evan, I apologize for making you sweat a little bit. I know we're getting old to these moments as well. We're like, we're losing days of our life every time that this happens to us at this point. But yeah, this game, it's so far this Banshee dealing a little bit of damage and not taking any damage. I know you might be like, oh, it's just 2 drones. It's not that bad. But that is something that most Terrans will definitely smile about. Yep,
and there is a second Banshee that's now providing high ground vision for this one Marine that's going to try to kill this Overseer before it's done. I think it's an Overseer. Oh my...
Oh.
What? It was like done. It literally was done. I love this by HeRoMaRinE as these Hellions are shooting through the rocks, roasting a couple of Zerglings there. Serral's supply block actually after losing that one Overlord on the other side of the map. As he does start up his 1-1 upgrades here. No Spire in sight yet. This is going to be Lings and Banes with quick access to Baneling speed as HeRoMaRinE is already cranking out a lot of units.
He certainly is. These Hellions go pretty deep on the creep though, but overall I think he's done a good job of making sure that he isn't surrounded. These Banshees, though, the first one got some kills, but the second one flew in and it's already sent home packing.
Yeah, as long as HeRoMaRinE keeps them alive, though, you can definitely use them as spotter Banshees for potential Ling run-bys. I feel like that's something we've seen Clem do very often on Oxide. So whenever a couple of Banelings would morph, maybe the base at 9 o'clock, you can have a Banshee on patrol there. I can get a couple of shots off, maybe pick off a few Banes. Serral sending his Queens all the way into the center. Really wants to take care of these rocks, and he will finally be allowed to do so.
Yeah, I think it's smart by Serral, right? Like, getting down those rocks is a big deal, opening up the amount of places you can flank and deal with things that way. Although the Hellions are back, man. He's been very annoying, but not targeting the Lings before they get that down. And, oh, Burrow on the way. Nice.
A lot of Marines on the right side. Serral sees it immediately. Had one scouting Zergling and immediately sends his forces over to the right side. HeRoMaRinE throws down a scan. There's quite a few Banelings, and we're still on creep. Good job there by HeRoMaRinE picking up everything before the Banes connect.
Yeah, HeRoMaRiNE's definitely got his next target, though. Like, there's not much creep spread in front of that fourth base, and these Hellions are still doing work in the middle, denying creep and such. 1-1 is done for HeRoMaRiNE, so if there was a moment to take advantage... Oh, I love that tank on the back there, ready to bait Zerglings and Banes into it.
I just want to point out that the Banshees were actually chilling at home for quite some time, but now he's moving them away. Right when Serral's morphing 7 Banelings on this base at 9 o'clock, at the same time, the first fight is happening on the right side. HeRoMaRiNE does a good job picking it up, but 7 Banelings are ready to potentially roll into the mineral line of HeRoMaRiNE, and this could hurt. The Hellions are left behind. Is HeRoMaRiNE paying attention? Can he get the right shots off?
It turns out that, no, I mean, 8 SCVs going down, maybe a couple more. The Burrow as well to finish things off. Okay, he noticed it. Nice play by Big Gabe.
Yeah, that could have been game ending. If HeRoMaRiNE didn't see those Banelings burrow, and he would send all the SCVs back and they would go over those burrowed Banelings. Now HeRoMaRiNE does know that Serral is already ready to potentially get some run-by damage done. Not sure what the Banshees were up to in the top left side. HeRoMaRiNE is gearing up for a pretty powerful push. The tank on at this point is 3. Serral just runs head into this, thinking that the tanks were not ready, and they weren't quite ready. But there's a lot of units on the left side. He's going to come in, changes his mind, but he's still going to go for it. I feel like the tanks are a bit exposed. HeRoMaRiNE is so exposed. The Baneling connections are absolutely massive. This doesn't feel like a great fight for HeRoMaRiNE, even though it does cost Serral a lot of units to clean this up too.
You know, the biggest thing I'm worried about here, Kev, is this didn't really thwart the creep spread, and the 2-2 is safely on the way for Serral. Let's look at the work account as well. 75 to 61. Serral is getting comfortable in this Ling Bane style. It's good at deflecting this kind of stuff that Gabe is throwing at him. I think Gabe's picked the wrong strat for this map.
Yeah, he is going to head into Widow Mines, though, and not a big Baneling connection there, my goodness. And there's a few more Marines going down. Serral's already firing up a hive, a 9-minute hive on Oxide. That's something that a lot of Zerg players dream of, but they feel like they can't really get away with. Well, Serral is getting away with it at this point.
Yeah, these Banshees still alive. How many kills do they have together? 3 and 0. I mean, HeRoMaRiNE hasn't been able to get much done with those at all. And Banelings running into the third. Maybe the Zerglings kind of gave away the location there a little bit, but still, it's a lot of lost mining time. Oh, those 2 Banelings. Do you think he knows about them?
Oh no, HeRoMaRiNE is killing his own sensor tower, sorry, Njal. But as he was cleaning this up, he missed. Oh my goodness, the burrowed Banelings. Oh my god, it's turning into disaster. Gabe A-moved his Marines into the third, and he gunned down his own sensor tower, and then didn't see those units burrow either. This game is going from bad to worse for HeRoMaRiNE. Oh, Serral keeps that Spore Crawler alive too. It just feels like Serral's getting victories left, right, and center. And Gabe is just not able to keep up.
He certainly isn't. Like those 2 Banelings that he burrowed there, Kev, like initially killing 7 SCVs, but then running back on to those Banelings exactly. Oh, beautiful Widowmine, though. If he's going to get back into it, it's moves like that that's going to do it.
He's going to need a few more than that, that's for sure. But more mines have been burrowed. Serral is just going to run into this head first. Widowmine shots are decent, but there is still so much Zerg. So many Lings, so many Banelings, and HeRoMaRiNE is forced to pack up one more time. At the same time, Serral sets up another run-by, and HeRoMaRiNE's supply is just nowhere near where it's supposed to be against the Zerg that has an Ultralisk Cavern finishing up, and the first Vipers on the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good having Liberators, and I mean, the only thing that shoots up right now is the Queens, and he's making 5 more of them, but holy crap. HeRoMaRiNE's struggling to stay on 3 bases, while Serral, he can, well, he's already on 5.
Yep, Serral finding more and more economic damage here. Seems like HeRoMaRiNE had enough of all of it, so he is going for a desperation play here with the Liberator. Is going to unload a bunch of Marines, but the Baneling count is still so high. The Queen count is quite decent. I don't know if the Liberators can win the fight. Serral is just trying to stay outside of those liberation zones. You look at the minimap, you see everything is blinking, and that's where you know the floodgates are open. It is almost now or never for HeRoMaRiNE, and with only 81 supply ban, it doesn't look very promising.
No, it doesn't. Spore Crawler flanked from both sides, and Serral takes it 3.